Okay, I am going to go ahead and go live just so I have something, make it easier to record. There's not a whole lot I'm going to show you on the go liveness, but you are welcome to join. So, for those that don't know, I'm Talamir. I'll be running the training, but there's different opinions, and I've got some other people that might chip in and give their 2 cents. So, first thing I'm going to do is start off with the question I wasn't able to answer last week, which was about the winged hussars and going the bottom line for the uninterruptible charge. And I was able to swap it around, and I was able to charge a little bit better. I still don't recommend getting them. The damage when you go that way is significantly lower. Uh, that's so I was able to test it out, and I can't remember who asked that, so I hope they're here this week. If not, I'll put this video up. So today's topic is going to be over as a broad blanket statement, generally just getting ready for territory wars. And the bulk of it is about getting yourself ready, kind of a little bit about the structure and how to, for lack of a better terminology, not be a burden or a hindrance to the people leading your territory wars. So we'll go ahead and start off with you. So, meaning the individual person that is showing up. What can you do? So, one thing you can do is you'll get your troops ready. So, when you go, for those of you who are watching the live stream, I'm opening up my warband build. So, you can see I've got whatever units. I actually use open world, I actually use for my territory war. And the reason why is right here. It shows your food exhausted. So it shows you about how much time you have to travel. So that's why I use the open world for my territory war loadouts. And you can see I've got 3 different loadouts. And depending on what tactics I'm going to need. So, for example, I have IRs. So I'm going to first thing I'm going to do is check my IRs. And I'm going to make sure that they're ready for war. They have 100 out of 100. They're good. They're not wounded. You can see I've got 0 wounded and 0 lost. So they are ready for battle. And then I would go through for each of my troops and do the exact same thing for whatever I'm going to bring out. So I'll make sure that they have kits, they're not wounded, and we're ready to go. I know some people, especially during sieges, will let their status get down to about 50 because it still stays good and it doesn't affect their gameplay. Well, in territory wars, unless you're going to bring kits with you, which I don't recommend, they're going to you won't be able to replenish them unless you are defending and you have your camp there. So which units I use is going to be based off strategy. I kind of showed a little bit in my warband. So for different strategy, I've got an all cav build and then a Spider-Man build because why not? The so I'll make sure that they're all ready. The other thing I'll do is I'll make sure that I have my wagon properly set up. That includes siege and food. I'll go over food in a minute, but I'm going to go over siege here. So, obviously, for territory wars, that's the battles that really matter. So you're going to want to bring as good of a siege weapon as you can. So for those that I'm sure everybody knows, green, blue, purple, and then everybody calls legendary a different color, so I'll just call it legendary. The quality is better, and I didn't think about this, but give me a minute. I'll go ahead and run over to the because I don't have any green, I don't think, so I can show you kind of the difference between the two. I did have I have a blue mortar and a purple mortar, so I can show you the comparison there. So if you look, the ammo is 10 on one, 16 on the other, so that's a big deal. The explosion radius is 1.5, or sorry, the 3 and 4 meters for the splash damage, and then the damage is 1,800 on both. So you can tell that it's better. The one it really stands out with is the Hawacha. So if you look at, this is just blue, I don't have a purple one, otherwise I would. But it gets more arrows, more armor penetration, and then more damage. So it's just better significantly. And if somebody can direct Packy to get here, please. You can do it in talkiness or typing. Uh, so that's when you're poor, you bring green, and your house will have its own rules or uh, expectations on what it wants for the uh, siege. If you're going to bring green, I recommend the ballista, the culverin, and the cannon because the difference is not significant. Seldom in a pitched battle for territory wars does my cannon last until it's out of ammo, especially if you're on the walls shooting out. So the other thing about siege I want to bring up for those that might not know, I'm sure most of you do, but the cannon, Scorpio, mortar, and trebuchet all have friendly fire. I'm sure we've all been trebbed by our friends, but so if you're not good with them, I wouldn't recommend bringing them into territory war. The other types, they all kind of have their place. I personally think that the weakest is the Scorpion, just because in territory war by then most of the uh, what's it called? Most of the troops are 4-star. Culverin and cannons are good for taking down other siege. Mortars as well. Uh, I don't like the grape shots too much, but they're pretty good if you can get them into a nice funnel. And then the watches are good, and I suck at aiming them, so I usually put them up pretty close. And then, of course, everybody's been headshot with the ballista, and I've already discussed the other two. So anybody have questions over the siege or anything else that I've said about getting ready?
I was gonna comment that the cannon is actually good against any spear units that is in cover commander.
Yeah, or anything really. The reason why I like the cannon is because it knocks troops down. So especially bunched up troops. Uh, Thank you. So
You would
the
be
other
going out to open world.
no, the other thing I wanted to bring up was food. So in my wagon here, I've got 16,000 food, which is a lot. You'll want to bring 5 to 7,000, but it all depends on where you're going. So right now I'm in Agolia. I'll flow this flag so everybody can see Defiance's domination right now. So if I was going, let's say this is probably the furthest one. If I was going down here, wherever that is, that would be a long trek through enemy territory. Actually, I would have to go around this way because they've got it blocked off here. But that is that. So I would require a lot of food when I get down there. Let's say I fought one, lost, whatever. I might need to move or get hit in the open world and do other things. So you want to make sure that you're not out of food. You can't start a battle with your out of food, but you can be attacked, and then you perform like crap.
Hey, on your demonstration, we can't see your cursor, so if you could just name in the general area.
You are
Thank
correct. You're right. I forgot. It'll be on the video, but not here. So I was just looking at it doesn't really matter where I'm saying. So if you're going far, you're going to need more food. I'm working on getting and I've got some people working on time and food consumption, and it also depends on your what units you're bringing. And again, that's why I like to make my warband build for territory war in the open world, so it shows food exhausted in however many minutes, and you can see it's horses are hungry hippos, so they eat a lot. They do cover more ground though. The other thing about your wagon, if depending on your tactics, what you're getting into, you may want to save space. So, for example, I don't have any on me, but we'll just say this much space. It doesn't. Your group leader should tell you, and I'll go into a little bit more about group leader here next. But you might need to save space for a big siege, such as a tower, a trebuchet, or a battering ram, depending on what target your house is hitting. So you'll want to know that beforehand, before you head out, so you know how much siege to bring. Your goal really is to work with your group leader. That's one of the ways the way we do it, and I've seen it done in other houses and alliances that I've been in. Is the group leader kind of controls the group. They will set it all up, and I'll go into more detail for that. But so that each individual members will report to the group leader. The leader will forward it up to what we call shot callers, which is our battlefield commanders. And then, so just to reiterate, what can you do before every territory war? So about an hour before, you're going to want to make sure that you have what troops you're going to bring, all your kits ready. You're going to make sure that you have your siege, what you can bring for your siege, and your food. You're going to make sure that you have all that. And then the rest will be up to the group leader. For example, they might request certain troops that you have, or make sure that you leave space in your inventory for the bigger siege. Does anybody have any questions about the individual person getting ready for territory war? Okay. Anybody else got something that they do differently? A prep thing maybe I left out, or something that you thought is obsolete? Okay, moving on. So the next up is the group leader. The actual responsibility is pretty low for this, but you definitely won't want to be somebody who's distracted by, their seventh blunt of the night. That's definitely gone bad before. So the group leader is exactly what it sounds like. They'll form the group up. They'll track their group members, make sure that everybody's where they're supposed to be. Generally, the group leader will have a specific goal or tasking. You will be attacking here, you will be defending there, or whatever tactic your shot callers will be employing. So the group leader then uses group chat and types it out, the orders. For example, what I usually do is, for those that don't know, if you go to, I'm not in a group right now, so somebody invite me real quick. I don't even know what troops I have, but I'm definitely. Thank you. Oh, too many, too fast. So here in a minute, I'll show you a trick if you want to be a group leader, how you can check your unit's troops. This is how I do it, because I'll get everybody at the watchman, and you go to leave fief, and then you can see what everybody has. So for whatever my tasking is, I may say this is what I want for the group. And you can see your other group members and see what you want out of them.
Just a note, when you are in a territory war and you're in a village, that when you press leave fief, it does not work.
Just when you're, is that just only when you're in your camp then?
Yes.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. So, and then what you're going to bring, what the group leader is going to bring, is you're going to look at whatever your task or goal is for your group. For example, you might need your shield walls. For example, this group has 2 shield walls. We've got some range and some anti-charge units. You guys can see what we have, and he's swapping them out. He's going to hide his troops and bring out some cool shit. The other thing I recommend for a group leader is you actually start off with what troops you want everybody to bring off initially. That way you don't have to worry about having 5 shield walls or etc. And then usually what the group leader will do is, for example, you can't really tell from here, but you see the little double dashy thing that usually means elite. Double dashy thing, elite. Nope, guess not, because I guess they are elite. They're just not maxed. Anyway, you can kind of see what you are. So if 4 people want to bring a shield wall, you can see who's got the best shield wall for what you're doing. And then what range and how you're going to go and how you're going to accomplish whatever your task is. The group leader is going to report up to the shot callers. For example, I usually start off addressing by name. Some people have squad names and things like that. That's all cool. It doesn't really matter. So if I was the group leader, I would say Talamir's group is ready to go at wherever we're attacking or defending or whatever our goal is. That way they don't have to wonder. The group leader should always have a mic and should always be attentive. So if you're distracted because you're watching your kid and there's no one else in the house, you probably shouldn't be a group leader. So from the shot caller, you'll usually get specific goals, and I'll kind of go into that here in just a minute as far as the shot caller. But so let's say I was in a group with 5 people, and my goal was to attack the west side of a city. So we're gonna climb the wall, or so I would say, hey, I need Drakthor. You're gonna go and bring your pike or whatever I wanted to bring, and set up our group so that we would go. And then, as people fall out, I can request them to what to bring, and I would do that by obviously. There's a couple different ways you can use your group chat, but uh, I could give. Oh shoot, I turned this off so super spies can't hit my house. But so I could type in there and say, bring Pike next or whatever the case may be. That clears up your communications, so that everybody can listen to the shot callers giving out battlefield commands. Has anybody got questions about group leaders? Didn't think so. So the shot caller, that's what we call the person who gives uh, the battlefield commands, such as directing the strategy of the active battle. Group X go here, Y there, Z there. Uh, they will usually give the group leader a specific task, like, hey, I need you to make sure that you break down the wall, or you guys are going to defend the supply point. Whatever the tactics are, that's what the shot callers are going to be there for. They'll also the ones that reach out to call for outside assistance. So, in most of the houses and alliances that I've been in, whoever's in on a battle will be in the same channel in comms, much like we are here. So, if you look at our Discord, we've got 20 some odd people here. We can't imagine that we are all attacking a city. I would say this group is going to sit out and be in the queue, or do open field battles to run interference, whatever the tactics may be. And group XYZ these are your goals. That would be now if, let's say, we started getting hit and we were struggling. That's when I would be able to reach out and go to other chat channels, call for backup, etc. That's pretty much the gist of the flow of each job, and then I'm going to give some tricks and tips to each one individually. Does everybody kind of understand how the flow goes? You guys can hear me okay, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, just making sure. All right, so the group leader is the one in the field. They're the ones that are performing the task. The individual is the group leader is the one that's kind of controlling it to make sure everybody's. Really, the goal of the group leader is to make it easier on the shot caller. If I can say, hey, have your group over here, that's 5 people that I don't need to worry about because they're taken care of, because with one person. So the 20 people here, there would really be 4 people that, if I was the shot caller, there'd be 4 people that I would be directing through, instead of trying to give 20 people orders. So the tips are that I have for the individuals, I've already pretty much mentioned, as far as be prepared beforehand. You know that we're going to need siege, so you can build them beforehand. You know you're going to need your kits and all these other things. If you start having trouble with money, then reach out to your leadership, express what's going on, and maybe they'll change around what troops you bring, or they can put you in a different squad that doesn't need siege, such as if you're going around hitting people in the open world. For the squad leader, the best thing I can do to make it easier on the squad leader, group leader, whatever you want to call them, is try to keep your people on the same line. So when you go out, there's 4 lines usually. That way you don't need to say, hey, where are you? Generally speaking, if you keep them all together, when you're going to whatever your destination is, you can see where they are. If somebody's straggling behind, if somebody's getting hit in the open world, things like that. That way you can report, hey, Talamir, I'm a group leader. I wouldn't say all that. If I was a group leader, I would just say, Talamir's here, I'm down 1, they got hit in the open world. There you go. Quick, easy, and then whoever's doing the shot calling knows that, hey, out of those 15 that I was going to bring, I'm down 1. So they might call somebody that's designed to be in the queue to go ahead and load in. The other thing is making sure that your group is bringing the right, uh, the good units. So if somebody's bringing, for example, I can't think of a world in which having woodcutters and serfs is worth having in a territory war. Generally speaking, it's better to just bow out and let somebody else take that slot. Your house, each house's flavor will differ, but that's my opinion. You'll also be tasked with a specific goal I mentioned. You're not only do you need to try to achieve that goal, if you're struggling with that goal, you need to give feedback to the shot caller so that they can either send help, like I had mentioned, where they can call out for support outside of the battle, or they can shift other assets over to assist in whatever that task is, or abandon all the tasks together because you've succeeded at another option. I'm not going to go too much into shot calling because everybody's got kind of a different way to do it, and I think it's usually better to kind of uh, develop your own style. I'll tell you some things that helped me and that I wish I'd have known a little earlier. That would be uh, don't be afraid to make a mistake. Just make sure you learn from it. So it's better to try something and try to achieve it your way uh, and then fail than it is to be wishy-washy because if you half-ass something, you almost are never successful. Another thing that uh, I learned, and I wish I'd learned earlier, is rely on your uh, group leaders. So, and diversify your seniority. For example, I know the tendency is to have like, hey, we can only have 15 in this fight. You want to bring your 15 strong, so you end up making, three strong groups. Well, with people that have been in the house for 6 months or something, and you know that they can get it done. The problem with that is then maybe the other 15 they don't have as much experience. So as a shot caller, I highly recommend, and I've had some good success, not just with uh, in on the battlefield, but in new player retention by just throwing them in the deep end, give them the support that they need to be successful, but don't play the recruit and give them the shit jobs, for lack of a better word. Those are the two big things. And then don't be afraid to ask for help. The sooner you ask for help uh, from the outside of the battle or wherever you need it from, if, the west side's falling and you slide people from the east. Uh, those are the big things that I learned, and I wish I had learned sooner as a shot caller. Uh, I'm going to go ahead and open this up for questions.
I have one. What if your group gets divided right at the very first, and then you're in two separate regions? You know what I mean?
Yes, you mean, for example, because everybody's got a plan until the first punch, the Mike Tyson quote or whatever, where, hey, your group is going to attack X, and then X either wins or loses, and then, somebody dies in there and they end up over fighting at Y, and then you go to Z, and is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes. So try to avoid it, but as everybody knows, that's not always possible. Just as if you're the group leader, and some of the other houses might do this differently, or alliances or whatnot, but if you tell the shot caller, hey, two of mine are in X, we're going to Y, then I know I got three people in Y, and you know what you got, and then you'll when you get into that battle, there'll be another shot caller. If you don't have an overall battlefield commander or territory war leader, uh, which I didn't really go into because it's kind of more advanced, and not a lot of houses do this, or not everybody does. So I didn't really worry about it. The somebody that's not in the battle to make these calls, personnel decisions or whatever. So when you get in there, you would say, "Hey, this is Otter. I got three," and then everybody knows what you're in, and we're in the queue, or you're jumping the battle, whatever the case may be. It was a good question because it will happen every territory war, pretty much.
Is it
Oh,
open for another question, or
Yeah, go ahead.
is there a way to make an integrated channel so that let's say the commander, let's say it's you, and then the shot callers, but we can let's say that we're in the same channel, but we can only hear the shot callers giving group leaders commands, and then when we talk, you don't necessarily hear us, but we can talk to our groups, but also hearing the traffic from you guys. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, the only way I know how to do it in Discord is with 2 accounts, and you do
Yeah,
the
that's what Blackshirts. We
yeah.
have Discord where we do our normal calls, and then we'll have all our officers in another Discord call with our second account, and that's how we like macro things.
Okay. I was just wondering because it got pretty confusing the last territory wars. When I was a group leader, I was trying to listen to shot calls and other group leaders at the same time. When I need to hear what other group leaders are saying, obviously, in case we need to, do something on the fly. But if I could just hear the commanders and shot callers while only being able to talk to you guys and my group instead of all the other groups, that might help. But you said 2 accounts is the way to solve that.
Yeah, and I
There's a
think
PTB Discord that you can download,
Yeah.
and that will let you use another one.
P
PTB, PTB,
Got it.
like
Okay.
like a beta version.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. That's the only question I got. Thank you.
yep. If you don't want to do that, you can kind of do it with your phone, but it's very clunky. We actually tried that in the past alliance that we left. We tried it for a while, but didn't go over very well. Mostly because I don't think there was a lot of buy-in. So maybe
Yeah. What? Like, keep going. Sorry, keep going.
no, I was gonna say actually, it sounds like you guys use it actively. So
Yeah,
give me your
we
take
have
on
a
it.
pretty intense system. So each house leader and one other officer will be in an alliance, like officer Discord. So then we can macro like alliance rotations, like house rotations completely. And then each house will have their own officer Discord. So then like I'll be in my officer and in my group, and then the person will be in the alliance one and in my group. So that way I can relay information easily.
Okay.
Yeah,
Whenever
pretty
you get
intense.
whenever you get a chance, see if you can kind of get a screenshot of something like that. Obviously, you can either do a fake one or get permission from the other people. Uh,
Yeah, I'll probably have to do fake, but yeah, I could probably
yeah,
do it.
that's really what I was getting at. Is
Yeah.
just to kind of show what it is because I couldn't get it to work too well, but like I said, there wasn't a
It's
lot of buy-in.
very
So
hard for the officers because you're hearing 2 discords at once. It's very difficult. So literally that one other channel is like only for macro calls. Like let's say I need a group to reinforce this city, that's that channel.
okay,
But like there's no other talking there because you can't listen to two discords at once. You just drive yourself mad.
yeah,
You can
Yeah.
also use Discord through Google Chrome and have it up in there while you also have the
Mhm.
Discord application up.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
No worries.
Is there any other questions about communication, the chain of command, what the expectations are, shit like that?
It's Cal.
Go ahead.
Cal, what is your recommendation for when groups get separated? Since the T-War is quite dynamic, so let's say a group leader falls out before the rest of his group, or if like half of your group falls out before the group leader gets out, how would you maintain command over the group while you're either in the shit or you're outside of the battle for them? Or do they just get rotated into the shot caller or whoever's outside? Because
So
that's one of the things that I've had gripes with in our T-Wars is that we tend to have too much free float everywhere.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. That was gonna be my next question. Thank you.
okay, so I'm just gonna kind of word it my own real quick, and then make sure I understand. You're saying that as the battle wears on, you kind of get cycled to a different location, even though your group is still in the battle. Like maybe you died early, or your group leader died early, and then they get called over to somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, that happens, and the best thing to do is just you can. First of all, there is no benefit to being in a group. There's not group buffs. It's not like every other game. So there's really no benefit to being in a group other than it makes everybody feel comfortable and it's what they're used to from other games. So if you're not comfortable with that, then immediately you can drop from your group and go to X and then get picked up with another group if you still want to be in a group. And then just say, hey, I'm groupless. I'm here to help, whatever, as long as you tell the shot caller so they know what they've got, what assets they have in the battle.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. SkyObstacle, I know you said you got to go soon. Is there
Yeah.
anything, any kind of tips you want to give us from another perspective or anything
Well,
like that?
actually, from that, like following your group things, it does get hectic, right? Because we usually say always follow your group leader, but in a battle, how we do it is each Discord channel will be a battle in itself. So whenever you load into that battle, you then join that Discord, and when you die, you load in back with your group. So we have like a Discord channel that's just for waiting, and a Discord channel that's actually in the fight. And when you die, you'll go into that waiting channel, tell someone, "Oh, I need someone in the battle." Then that person will load in.
Oh, that's
That way,
kinda,
it just gets rid of a lot of extra noise.
yeah,
So
I
it's
haven't
easier
seen
to
a waiting
follow.
one, so I like that.
Yeah, so that's what we do for that. So they're usually capped at 15. And then for following group leaders, it's like Talamir said, it makes no difference really. It's just for simplicity's sake, for your own knowing where I should go. Usually, if the group does get split up, we'll start texting in group chat in game and saying, okay, once you guys are done that battle, I need you guys here, and that's how we'll coordinate that. If not, even in Discord, like I know from my groups, I do the rotation on defense, so I'm the one who like I just pull people into my channel because I know who they are, and I'm like, hey, you gotta be here, you gotta be, and I'll start pulling them down.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Discord, like communicate. We like in Blackshirts, we say like quiet is key. So like often you will barely hear anything. It's just only our squad, like our stack leaders, will call shots. And then like Talamir said, we have like a list of officers who will then take up when that person dies. Yeah. I think for TW readiness, artillery is key, guys. You're gonna see a shit ton of it. Once Borderlands open, it'll be nicer and easier to build it. And right now too, with the feast being locked to like only building one siege, it's gonna be annoying as hell. But trust me, artillery is like the best thing you can do. When you guys are just stalemated there, staring each other down and behind your shield walls, artillery is what will break it. Personal favorites are mortars for damage, cannons because they can break shield walls, and then culverins just to deal with enemy artillery to take them out. I can't really think of anything else really. Any questions for anything on Blackshirt side?
I have a question on communication.
Yeah.
So basically, I just want to ask, what does your average Discord channel look like in that case? So do you have like a voice channel, and then a text channel for communication there for each group, or are you doing like when you say you fall back into a text chat? Is it one?
Oh no,
single
it's another voice chat. It's another voice chat.
Okay,
Sorry.
so you're switching
Yeah.
voice chats rapidly.
Yeah. We have like 20
Okay.
channels, and then we label them before each war, being like, this will be this defense, this will be this defense, and then we just flip where needed.
Well,
Okay. And you're using
Mhm.
alternate Discord accounts. So are you using like, so is there like an easier way to go through that so you're not like mic spamming into other channels, irrelevant
So
information?
actually, what I have is I have my my main Discord, which I use in my groups in war, will be
Mhm.
always on, and then when I need to talk to officers, I have a button that will mute my mic in this Discord and activate my mic in the other Discord.
Oh, okay.
Is that a macro?
No, it's just like push to talk. You can activate push to talk on the other Discord, and then a macro on your main Discord to mute yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So basically what he does is he sets the bind. So he signed in on his primary, set the bind, mute himself, and then go on the other one unmuted so that when he hits the bind, it'll mute the other channel and unmute himself on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the best way of doing it.
So you must be like either running two screens or you're running two PCs with Discord on dedicated to one of them.
You don't really need the two screens just because when you're in the Discord, you're fine. But I do have the other monitor because I'm the one who controls our rotations for Blackshirts. So I have to like pull people in channels all the fucking time. So yeah, get them going. But yeah, you don't need two channels. It's like enter them at the beginning and you're good.
So the way you have it set up is you have the Discord app open, and then you have Discord open, like on Google Chrome or whatever.
Yeah, I have the PTB one, which is another app.
Okay.
So I have it open on two apps. So like right now, I could join one channel. Like, I'll join myself on my second channel. Well, but it'll just show you where it's at. Like it's just two different apps. Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else? Curiosities? No, that's all I got.
Does a request count?
What do you mean request?
Stop bringing.
Oh,
all
yeah.
Stop bringing all that legendary artillery
Cav?
against us.
Artillery. So where? To Das Bulwark?
It was two. Hold on. Let me see where it was.
Because Sagan Spain, that was just unlucky. That was when I
Yeah.
heard it. I didn't know what happened until afterwards. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah. When we fought a couple territories wars in Gruenfeld, I kept seeing. I was like, man, how many do they have?
Yeah, that was 2 territory wars ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Legendary artillery is not what I was worried about. The thing is, Hightower jacking up the cost of resources in all their own territories.
Yeah, we are having an alliance meeting tonight on that. I'm gonna try and convince them to reduce our hostile collections to like 50% or 10%. So hopefully you guys will have an easier time.
I would just be happy if I could actually gather resources there.
Yeah, are we hitting you? Is that what it is, or?
Yeah, there's a few areas where we just can't get resources. It's not
Yeah,
like-
I will say
That ain't
Yeah.
gonna stop.
our guys will hit you again.
That ain't gonna stop. It's a war
I
game.
can tell them, but they won't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
it's
no,
what
no, no,
that's
no.
what it is.
I'm not talking about getting hit. Like,
It's collections prohibited for enemy houses.
Yeah, so I'll try and fix that. Not really, because also we've had requests from other people, and at this point, like, it's no fun for anyone. And also, I want more of your money, so please collect at my fiefs. So
as long as you let me.
Exactly.
There's an
Yeah, but-
ulterior motive.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
But you guys know you can use your rec tokens still, right?
Yeah, but it still costs
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Well, there'll be no if you use a rec token, there'll be no taxes.
True story. You just pay the
It
base
avoids.
amount.
Yep. It just you have to have enough rec token. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I have 100. If I did that, I'd be out of them in less than a month.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks for the
Yeah.
the training and whatnot, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, I gotta roll, but feel free to PM me if you guys have any questions.
Cool.
Help.
Thanks for your 2 cents
Yeah, no worries.
and your perspective. Thank you. So, does anybody have any other questions about anything that I discussed before we move on to anything that wasn't discussed? About the layout and kind of how everybody understands how to move and what you can do to streamline your process to make the territory war easier for, well, pretty much everybody. All right, I'm going to give my personal example. So tonight, whatever I'm going to bring, for those that are watching the stream, give me a minute. I don't know. We'll just say I'm bringing my Reapers. So let's say this is the loadout I'm going to bring tomorrow. I will make sure that it's ready to go, and you'll notice that I've already got food in my wagon. So I'm ready to go there. Then I'll just drag the siege over when I need to, and that way I'm ready to go today for tomorrow. Before I log off, I'll make sure that I have all that stuff done every single time. That's all. That's all I got about this. Unless somebody's got a question about territory wars in general, or I'm gonna just open it up to open questions, and then that'll help me figure out what I'm gonna be training next week.
The space getting siege towers and whatnot. What are the options getting them from the siege camps, and how much space approximately would those items take up? If you know off the top of your head. If not, I can look it up on like Concrete Bay Wicca or something. I mean, I was just wondering if you knew off the top of your head.
I don't know off the top of my head, but
Trebuchet 84,000 and a siege tower is 92,000.
there you go.
Oh, you said Trebuchet was what, 84,000?
Yes,
And then a siege was, I'm sorry, what was that?
92.
92. That's personal space, right?
Correct.
Yes.
And it'll
Okay.
go. It'll fit into your wagon. So if you look right now on my screen, I've got 38,000 out of 150,000. So
Yeah,
I
that-
could fit, one of them in there, and then maybe another siege or two.
Okay.
And remember, the trap can be used by your entire team, including new people who rotate in.
So as long as you bring it, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to put it down. Your group can put it down.
No,
Or-
you have to put it down,
Yeah.
but your group can use it even after you're dead.
Okay, so get it in and use it, basically, especially if you're called to do so. Gotcha. Okay.
It's a good question. Any other questions about territory wars in general and setup and all that other stuff and functions? Cool. I'm gonna open it up to any kind of questions. I don't have a topic for next week, so maybe if I get a bunch of the same questions, that'll help me out. So go ahead, fire any question about the game. If I don't know it, I'll figure it out and I'll give it to you tomorrow.
Should we try to schedule? Let's say I have a certain type of people that I usually play with. Should we try to schedule mock battles and then shot callers overview, like we do screen share in Discord, so they can see how we operate and if we can make improvements for territory war, or what our specific group would be good at?
You want to do mock battles to basically practice.
Well, yes, but I mean, as like a shot caller or you or whoever would like to we do share in a certain channel, like you're doing right now, screen sharing, so that you can monitor and see what we're good at, what we're not good at, and what we can be used for. Or is that?
I understand what you're saying. I don't have a problem with that. If somebody wants to set something up like that, I'll watch.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
All right.
Hadn't thought of it, but I think it would be valuable, and for anybody for that matter. Huh? Yeah, I like it. Write that shit down.
Yeah, I've been writing all this shit down, so that's why I had a couple questions. All right, well, I'm good on questions, and if you don't have anything else, man, I'm gonna pop out and try to get a good guy. So.
Yep, I don't have anything. Has anybody else got any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna call.